Yep, good.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
My microphone. Well, thank you, Ed. Hello.
I turned it down a little bit, but it was new one.
That's not gonna help. Huh?
Go ahead.
I'm just gonna yell, there's nobody here, so. Per the usual. All right. People here? Good evening, it's 16th, 6 o'clock. Before we get started, I'd like to congratulate trustee Molly Harbor on her recent engagement.
Congratulations. All right. Congratulations. Well done. That's the way I
You should be visible to all of us.
All right, first we need a motion to approve last meeting's minutes pending corrections.
I'll make a motion with the amendments.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Warrants.
Warrant number 26 encumbered. General, $105,775.81. Water, $1,684.88, totaling $107,460.69. Warrant number 2, $247,831.81. Water, $17,687.21. Sewer, $375,000, staying forward. Totaling $265,894.02. Payroll number 1, $124,957.15.
I'll motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
You have a transfer, but it's, I don't have I put it in here, it's not here.
I was gonna say it was in the packet, Mary Jane.
Yeah,
No, but I put it into the minutes for some reason, it's not in the minutes.
Yeah, I read it. It was in there.
Yeah. We have a transfer of $51,166 from the previous year's budget.
Could you read the whole number again, please?
$51,166 from the 2024-2025 budget to cover the invoice for Corbett Industrial Cleaning for taking the tires out of the tire dump. So it's going to come from the contingency account, and it's going to go into contract services.
From contingency
Yeah,
Correct.
to
contracted services.
And we are close to being done with that whole thing.
for tire dump cleaning.
Yeah, was mandated by DEC.
Right.
So I need a motion.
I will make a motion for the transfer of 51,166 from contingency to contracted services.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Let's not do that again.
No.
Just so everybody's aware of it, Bill Nevins, candidate for village trustee, came to Brian and myself, and he said he was withdrawing from the campaign. Under state law, because the ballots were already in process and he was nominated, his name is going to appear on the ballot. If Bill wins, he says he will resign the position, but if he doesn't resign the position, then he'll be a trustee unless he doesn't take the oath of office for 30 days. If he doesn't take the oath of office in 30 days, then he's automatically disqualified. After Bill resigns, or whatever happens with that, the mayor is gonna has to appoint somebody for 1 year, and we have to hold a special election June of 2026. And there's nothing that can be done.
Or the second option that we hold.
What, no, he has to appoint somebody within 30 days. With the 30 days, I misworded that. Don't go by that, because I got more clarification on
Yeah,
it.
if he doesn't.
If he either resigns or if he doesn't take the oath of office for 30 days, then the position after that point. So, but if he resigned tomorrow or Wednesday, say, Brian could appoint somebody for 1 year, and then we will either way in June of 2026. We're gonna, but if he doesn't get elected, then we're fine. Any questions?
Yeah, next.
Yeah, Matt's up.
Yeah. Labella and I have been talking about, what's known as a BOA, Brownfield Opportunity Area Grant. With the recent state work on Broadway and the 378 corridor and all of the potential development that could happen there, or parcels becoming potentially available if any of that work ever gets done. We wanted to create basically an opportunity area to study what the best mix of where we go now for a section of the village from essentially from Midland Farms up to Regeneron, and create like a designated opportunity area. And so Labella is going to talk about the work that we're going to try and put together a study to talk about what is best for that area. So Matt.
Thank you, Brian. Everybody can hear me okay?
Yes.
And you can see my screen?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, great. So I first wanted to provide a quick overview of what the Brownfield Opportunity Area Planning Grant is. So one, it was recommended in the village's comprehensive plan, which is important because that adds to the likelihood of it being awarded. It's a grant through the New York State Department of State. And essentially whittling it down to its bare bones, it's a community vision, goals, and strategies process for brownfield affected areas. And this process is a very wide-ranging definition of what a brownfield is. It doesn't have to actually be a site that's contaminated. They define it as a property or a neighborhood or area that is negatively affected by real or perceived environmental conditions, which often impedes investment and redevelopment. So given the past industrial history of the village and some known brownfields and suspected brownfields, and overall, some properties that are vacant and underutilized, the area that we defined, and I'll talk about that in a little bit, kind of building off of what Brian said. We've identified an area that we think makes sense. The program provides 90% funding. So there's a 10% match by the municipality, which can be either cash, in-kind services, or a combination of both. There's a $300,000 cap for this program. We recommend a $200,000 process. It leads to the area being officially nominated a brownfield opportunity area, which then opens up the door for a significant amount of funding specific to properties, both private and public. And this grant process takes some time. So the grant applications due at the end of July. And then if awarded, you would get a contract from the state, and you would probably not be able to start until summer or fall of next year. But that's pretty typical of most of the DOS and CFA grants. It just takes time for them to execute contracts. So typically we look at a fall start. You usually want to start something in the middle of the summer. So the benefits of this initial nomination process, it's not just planning. It's not just an update to the comprehensive plan, but it looks at detailed strategic site reviews of properties. including conceptual designs of potential projects, cost estimation for those projects, and actual marketing strategies to kind of figure out what would be the best use or uses for certain properties, what would be the target audience, et cetera. So again, we're able to actually start to dig into certain properties and move potential projects along, as opposed to just talking about conceptual ideas and opportunities. Obviously, it increases the eligibility for future state grants once you get a designated BOA. Certainly much more competitive. If there's property that's undergoing or that's participating in the brownfield cleanup program right now, I'm not sure if there are any. It does provide tax credit incentives to those developers that are undergoing that. So, and that even, so if the becomes a situation down the road between now and when it gets nominated, which it probably wouldn't be nominated until 2027, just the process. You know, if somebody does participate in the voluntary cleanup program, they'd be able to get some additional incentives. It increases confidence. It demonstrates a public-private partnership and reduces uncertainty for redevelopment of properties, because the village has taken the initiative to begin looking at these sites, and it allows for and facilitates public-private partnerships for those property owners that are willing to participate. And the big thing that we hear about a lot of times is I want my property in the BOA because it's going to reduce the property values, and that's not the case. The area can be up to 500 acres. I'll just show you that real quick. So it's 500 acres, and we actually looked at increasing the overall potential BOA site, Ryan, going all the way down to the 175 Broadway, which is that vacant parcel right there, close to the 787 exit, because that we know that's been
In the parking lot.
in the parking lot, because we know that's been vacant for quite some time. And so from the north, it would include all the properties facing Broadway up to the town of Colony line, the interchange, the future Troy Bridge replacement area, even though that's state land, but we want to demonstrate to the state that we're looking at that and how, if that area becomes available, how it could be incorporated. The Little River study area, because again, that could open up additional funding for implementation of that project. And then if we're not able to clarify what's going on with that railroad spur, by then the study can provide funds to help investigate that. And maybe if we do identify what's going on with that and we get some feedback from Delaware and Hudson, the funding could be available for additional coordination and maybe drawing up some agreements or any legal requirements. So just to go back to the next phase. So once it gets nominated, it opens up what are called pre-development funding benefits, which provides more financial support for redeveloping sites and making them shovel ready, including environmental analyses and studies, housing economic studies, more focused marketing strategies to actually market the properties, real estate services, legal services. Important, big part of this is building condition and site analysis. So if there are buildings that are been underutilized, the funding can be made available to look at those and see what improvements might be needed. The same with the sites, including the infrastructure that would be associated with the projects. And then environmental economic studies as needed. And if one or more projects requires the local zoning to be updated, the funds are available to complete that process. So that's a pretty quick overview of the program. So again, the village would be applying to develop the nomination. And even though we are showing a boundary right now. A big part of that process would be to confirm the boundary. So again, we have up to 500 acres to play with, and we would, through a public process with a committee, would identify the area that we want to include. And it has to be one large polygon. It can't be multiple areas. That would require separate applications to the state. So we figured it's best to start in this area generally. And if the southern part of the village, it turns out that might be a good opportunity for another BOA, the village could pursue that separately next year perhaps, or the year after. So what we need tonight, if the village board's in favor of this, would be to authorize us to move forward to prepare the application, and we submitted the proposal last week or the week before that laid out that process. So I'll pause there for questions.
So you could, it's Tim. You could change the boundaries to some extent. So what you have defined here, it doesn't necessarily have to stay that. How many acres are within that right now?
That's pretty close to 500 acres, but I just roughed it out. So, the area within the little river that, is all DOT right of way, we can bring the line in to follow the river because we're probably not going to go across it as part of the Little River project. So that would save us some acreage. And if we need to, we can go a little bit further south from where it's showing right now.
That's exactly what I was going to ask.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
So Matt, can you talk about Labella's cost for helping with the application?
Sure. Yeah, the application, the cost to complete the application is $5,000, and that's standard. That hasn't changed in several years. And that covers pulling together the full application, which is a pretty detailed submission, as most consolidated funding applications are. The required mapping to show the preliminary area, the research to identify some of the vacant underutilized sites. So we would map all that and include that in the application. Coordination with the village board to draft the resolution, writing draft letters of support and coordinating with the village board to obtain those letters of support, not only from your local and state, federal representatives, but from possible property owners and business owners. That's going to be key to demonstrate the overall commitment for the project. And just the overall coordination, and putting together a CFA application is an intensive process, and there's a lot of moving parts, along with the detailed budget, breaking down the different aspects of the study. So if there are locations that we want to identify for potential specific site redevelopment plans and marketing strategies, that's a conversation that we'll have to have between now and mid-July. And again, that it's a pretty intensive process to find those. That doesn't necessarily mean that the property owner has to be to give the okay. Sometimes BOAs will proceed and the property owner, for whatever reason, doesn't want to be involved, but the municipality can still plan those sites. Perhaps they come around, perhaps the property is sold, and the work that has been done, is there for the future property owner to take advantage of. So we don't expect to spend a lot of time kind of corralling property owners, but I suspect that you guys have an idea of, who's willing to participate and who's not. And, we would identify them and add that to the proposal. So that's a quick overview of the process. And Brian, you guys have been involved in grant submission, and you know that it's a lot of back and forth and a heavy workload for everybody. And then
Yes, I mean, the obvious goal here is to jumpstart some economic activity down on the part of the village where the golf carts are and the remainder of 444 Broadway. And then to look at basically what's going to happen with the clover leaves when the 378 bridge and Route 32 projects all come into to getting worked on, and just see what's the best thing to do to put some balance of redeveloped Broadway back together again. And
So would it play into the 2020 comprehensive plan?
Yes.
That would
Yeah.
tie into that?
Yes.
Yep.
So, for instance, the old 434 Broadway, where the golf carts are, that was considered a brownfield. They remediated some of the elements of it. Whether it's 100% complete is a question of who you ask, I suppose. So it may still qualify as an actual brownfield,
Yes.
and so this will pop. Go ahead, Matt.
No, I was just agreeing with you. Yeah, I mean that's a classic
So
brownfield.
it was a brownfield, you know, it ties into this program, and if there could be some credits out there because it was a brownfield and could be redeveloped using some of these credits that are state provided, then it would help with some of the economic development down on that end of the village. And so seeing as it was, a reasonable match, and the money's out there, after discussing it with Labella, it seemed like we would be a good candidate to be awarded some funds for that area.
Is it fairly competitive to get these, Matt, or is this?
It's competitive, but I will say, given the fact that you have a comprehensive plan that recommends it, that you have a well-documented history of this being an industrial corridor, that 434 that has a record for cleanup, the cloverleaf, which there is actually, I believe, a designated Superfund site over there right now. But I think it was remediated. It might be pretty old, maybe when the original bridge went in. But the Troy Bridge project, that's under, that's in the works. The 787 project. So there's a lot going on in this area that the BOA, I would be shocked that if the state didn't award this project. Plus, with the Restore New York funding, that's ending right now for Mid-City. Again, just demonstrates that the village is proactive, and this is just the next logical step to look at the full corridor and specific sites that are legacy vacant sites that really need some attention paid to them.
So Matt, what is it you need from the board here now tonight?
Just an authorization for you to sign the, or basically to agree to, for us to prepare the application.
Hire Labella and just come with an application of up to $200,000.
I'll
Right.
make a motion, solution 250230, to approve Labella to prepare and submit a brownfield opportunity area planning grant for $5,000.
I just have a quick question. Is this coming out of this year's budget or is this next year's budget?
So we are in.
Next year's budget.
Correct.
Perfect. And this is coming out of their contracted services.
Yes, correct.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
All right.
Any opposed? Matt, Little River?
Yep. So real quick on Little River. So I was there about last month, and we provided an overview of the different concepts, and we agreed that concept A minus the travel or the trailer parking, which would be removed in the final report, was the preferred concept. So we went ahead and prepared cost estimates, and there's no action needed from the village board tonight, but we were requested to provide an overview of the implementation costs. So all of that, including the professional design services and permitting, would cost just shy of $300,000. So I would say $300,000 for that. And it's good that, we have this estimate because we can include that in the BOA submission just to say, hey, we've already thought about implementation of this. If there's a handful of items are addressed, like the access with the railroad, et cetera. Again, we're not displaying this for the village to authorize anything. This cost estimate will get rolled into the final report that now we can go ahead and button up. And then we'll submit it to the village board in the Greenway. And then I don't think that you guys have requested the final grant reimbursement, but with the final report, you'll be able to do that to get your funding.
That was at that last board meeting. There was an action needed to accept the proposal or the plan as it was drafted, or was that something that still needed to be done?
No, you can, if you want, once the final report is on your desk, if you want to formally adopt it, you can. I don't believe that is a requirement, but we always encourage municipalities to adopt it. So in the final report, we can just note that it was adopted by the village board on July X 2025.
So Matt, just to accepting the plan doesn't commit us to spending that money, correct?
That's correct. Yeah. No,
and it allows us to ask the grant for the funding to cover the engineering and planning expenses, et cetera. Is that what it does?
Well, it'll allow you now to, if you want to apply for additional funds through the Greenway for, certain implementation efforts, such as maybe the engineering design, additional coordination and legal work with the property owners, including the railroad. So, and the Greenway grant process is definitely the way to go initially for these initial design aspects, because it's a more simple application process and there's less hoops to jump through like other ones. But then at some point, like the construction funds, which is a much larger price tag, funding could be available through Greenway, could be available through parks, or the timing might be right where you can seek some of that through the pre-development funds once the brownfield area is designated.
Okay. So no action tonight.
Nope, this was just for information purposes.
Thank you, Matt.
Hey, Matt,
Okay.
can you do me a favor? Can you just forward me all your slides, just so I can include them in the.
Actually, each of us already have that one, but the others. For the
From
brown.
the last time?
Yeah.
Yep, all right, I'll send
Yeah,
both of
no.
those as soon as I
One
hang.
from the last
You
Pardon?
mean the brown kids?
Outfield one.
Oh,
for
the
tonight.
brownfield, sure, yeah. I'll send them right over.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you,
you're
Matt.
welcome. All right, take care, everybody.
All right.
Thanks.
So, regarding the youth program, so I'm not going to appoint a youth director at this point. That's not necessary, but we do have a contingency plan for the summer program. So the summer program is still going to start on July 7th at 9 a.m., right? Is it 9 a.m.? Right.
Yes.
9 a.m. And Brianna is coming back, and Elizabeth Shantz is going to both split the doing that work for the summer program. And I would like to pay them each a stipend of $2,500 with no hourly, just a flat amount for each. They've already started talking to each other and planning some events and some activities. So I'd like the board's approval to hire each of them as a stipend for $2,500 each for the summer program. We'll deal with the actual youth director situation after that.
I'll motion.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Don,
No, sorry I wasn't at the last meeting, but it was at a conference. Workers' comp insurance, Comp Alliance came back with a price of $102,000 for this year. And PERMA came in at $82,210, and they guarantee that price for 3 years. The only thing that PERMA could possibly increase on is if fees from workers' comp increase, then they have to be sent over to us. So, I need approval to have PERMA to be able to sign the contract for PERMA for workers' comp insurance. It's gonna save us $20,000, which we're gonna need.
per year,
It's $20,000 per year, but,
and then on the flip side,
on the flip side,
it's always more.
we had a meeting, Brian and I had a meeting with Bob Dignam the other day. Because of some of the payouts that we've had to pay on our insurance last year, our liability insurance went up 20,000.
So we're even, Steve, that.
So we're not gonna need more money, but both of them are gonna offset each other.
So we didn't say.
Well, we didn't
Well,
save the 20,000 this year, but
At least we didn't have to come up with.
we'd have to come up with it. Yeah, because we need the liability insurance.
I was looking at everything that PERMA offers. Was the other company?
They did the same thing. It's basically, we had PERMA.
So we're getting the same thing, but for less money.
Less money, yeah.
Okay, all right.
And PERMA has,
I think they offer trainings.
yeah, they do, well,
PERMA's actually a stronger company financially.
Yeah.
So,
but PERMA also, years ago when we had PERMA, they paid for a guy to come in and give an operator's course for the backhoe for the guys. And the only reason we switched from PERMA because they went up $20,000 the last time. But the price is guaranteed for 3 years. And I mean, we've had both of them are really good companies, but it's just pure economics now.
I'll make a motion to approve PERMA to provide workers' compensation, authorizing the village to pay 2,210 for 3 years.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
EAP.
We have talked about providing an employee assistance program to our employees before. I'd like to initiate it for this year. An employee assistance program is a program that offers a million different, well, not a million, but a lot of different services to employees, counseling services. If somebody needs a legal consult for something, setting up wills, if they have a medical or a mental health crisis, they can speak to an initial counselor. If they have a medical problem, they can talk to an expert in that field. It has self-help courses. There's a million different, again, not a million, but a lot of different things that they offer. For the village to subscribe, it's $3,000 per year. And if one of our employees uses it, it could really be a benefit. So I'd like.
And I also put it in, when I did my budget request, I requested for that. So it's not an add-on, it's already in my budget.
So, yeah, so it's a lot of companies, private companies have them, and municipal programs or municipal employers are now also starting to provide them.
How do you make the employees aware of the service?
Colony has one, and there's cards that come out, and we give them out to each of the employees and stuff. And
The company that does this is the best. I had it when I was an IBM employee, and it's got a real nice array of services. So like somebody who had somebody die recently can go and get a legal consult to, what do you do? And it has referrals. If you use some of the services there are also vendors who provide discounts. So it's I think it's a worthwhile benefit. And like I said, we put it in Don's budget for the year, and So I'd like to initiate it starting July 1, right? So anyone agree, disagree?
I would just like to know that, like, since it's just for a year, right?
Yeah, it's an annual subscription, yeah.
I mean, would we be able to know if anybody's actually used it? Not
Yes,
specifically.
they give you,
what
yeah,
for,
exactly. So they give you statistics as to the count as to who's used it or
Well, I wouldn't necessarily, not who, but just
Well,
that.
I'm sorry, number of employees, not who, but and in what some generalized areas. There are statistics that they provide, yes.
And one thing is if we have a situation where somebody needs some type of counseling, I'll give you an example. I just noticed from Colony, one of the employees up there started having a drug and alcohol problem. He was able to go through this and it was able to keep his job because he went through this program, and it was very useful for that. And some instances the village would have to pay for those counseling, where this covers that,
So, and it also covers fire members. So for instance, if there's a fire call and somebody has some mental health issues from the fire call, they can also, go there and talk to somebody, see if they need further therapy, referral to, a mental health counselor. So I checked, and it will cover all of our volunteers.
And I know, like in the one in Colony, which I think is the same program or similar program, they have discounts like for theme park tickets. I mean, it's not just, it's everything, if you want to go to the Great Escape or Disney World, it has the discount tickets for that. So that stuff too, which it helps. I'm just using that as an example because of a Disney thing.
Okay, I'll make a motion for the board, for the village to approve the employee assistance program, effective July 1st at a cost of $3,000.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
David, you're up.
I think we'll really like it. Honestly, I had it at IBM and had some really cool stuff. It even had programs if you want to learn how to cook, which my mother will tell you. Yes, fire department can tell you. David, you're up.
So I have three things. First is for $32,143.75. It's for our annual purchase of 5 cents of turnout gear. The price of beer has gone up roughly $50. The larger increase in this estimate is for including bailout systems, which are required by New York State and PESH. They're
all, you just do them all.
Even better. The second is for $27,135. It is for 3,250 feet of new hose. That will basically give us all new hose within the past 2 years, to where ideally nothing fails. Obviously, if something happens. But that just does that. And then 3 standpipe bag kits. Its total is $5,400 with the.
What's the standpipe?
So with the increase of apartment buildings or high-rise buildings, standpipes are the pipes that are on like the 3rd, 4th floor in the hallways that we would connect to and run hose that way, as opposed to trying to run hose or 5 flights of stairs up in that way. These kits have pressure valves, so you know how much pressure is going out. They have different elbows that allow you to get around doors better or through the hallways better. So just a little upgrade for the buildings that we have.
Did you say this was for 1 or 3?
3. Each one is equal.
Okay.
And this is all in your budget?
This is all in my budget for the 2026 fiscal year.
Excellent.
Motion?
I'll second. All those in favor?
Aye.
If any of you need me in the next 10 days, you can email me. I will not have phone service unless I'm on Wi-Fi. I will be more than likely not thinking about the village of Menands, Italy.
All right.
I just heard very much.
Sounds
but
like fun.
I think I'm in for 10 days of 90+ degree weather and no rain. So
All right. Enjoy. Thanks, David.
Guys.
Don, registration day.
I spoke to NICOM, in the last 3 elections we've had, we hold a registration day and we paid, and whatever, we paid 2 people to sit there. In 3 years, we've gotten 2 people. This year we had 1 person. Last year we had 0 people. And the year before we had 1 or 2 people. We can eliminate it, and it has to be done by board resolution. And what we'll do is I'll put in, when the next election cycle comes in, that if you're not registered, you can come to the office, get the applications, which I've done.
They're there anyway.
They're there anyway. And we can do it. And so it just eliminates the day where we don't have to have 2 people sit there
There
for
are
5.
multiple ways for people to register.
Yes, yeah. And
Not
it's,
exclusive, you can just come in.
and it's, in a lot of municipalities, I talked to some friends of mine, most of people are getting away from having registration days because there's really no need for it. So I need permission, someone to give it a motion to eliminate registration day for the village of Menands.
One motion.
I'll second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
We put up, we surplus the 2019 Durango. It went up on Auctions International, and we got the highest bid for it for $7,800.
Way more than,
That's more than I thought I was gonna go with. So, I just need a motion to approve the sale of $7,800 to Auctions for Auctions International for the 2019 Dodge Durango.
I'll make a motion.
Second?
all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? God bless it.
Except we see the last.
Yes. What's next?
pen.
Now it's,
Mayor's report. All right, couple things going on here. They are on July 9th going to put in the insulation for the, on the older part of the building in the attic where there's nothing but dust. We approved that contract at 95.57. And it's gonna be completely paid for by the Certa energy grant we got. So, that's great. I want everyone to know that Colony has paid for their half of the Kenyon pipe inspection of the Menands sewer trunk line coming down Menand Road. So that's good. We got reimbursed on that. We're still working on a plan to work on lining that section of sewer line. I signed the intermunicipal agreement for the community block grant, received the $10,000 we got from the town of Colony. So we're working on that. We have entered into an agreement with the city of Waterville to allow our residents access to their pool during the summer. Menands residents will pay the same as Waterville city residents. I signed up, it's $11 for a season pass to go to the pool. So Waterville, Menands, and Green Island all participate in the same intermunicipal program. They have a great splash pad. They have a couple nights of adult swim. So,
So would you have to, do we get the passes from Don?
no,
Or
you have to go to Waterville to do that.
it's on the web, it's on their website. And there's a link, I think there's a link on our website on the homepage.
Yeah.
They have some activities. I think they do a yoga thing. So, the summer concerts in the park schedule has been posted. It's in the kiosk at the park, at the village office. I think there's one in the police lobby,
Yeah.
right?
On the
And it's on
website.
Facebook.
It's on Facebook, on the website.
Okay.
Same with the, food truck festival.
Yes, all the acts are there. And then, community night is August 20th. This year, the rain date, instead of rescheduling, the event will be held if it's raining at the, Menands Market in the gazebo.
It's also with the concert, so.
Yes. Yeah. So that way we don't have to reschedule anything. It's just either at the park or in the pavilion. we had talked about, getting together with community or, Capital Roots. I have a meeting, next week with the, director of Capital Roots to talk about a couple projects, including planting some trees around the village that they will, organize for us.
Oh, great.
And the possibility of working together on a community garden at some point. As I think everybody saw, the wall downstairs was built. We're just waiting for the door, which will arrive tomorrow.
Okay.
So one of the guys will have to be here to offload that.
Okay.
Okay.
Mark, you on that?
Yeah.
It's, I think it's 600 pounds or something. Each of Wheaties. I am going to forward the board members the revised agreement with the command staff for the police supervisors association. I spoke with Bill Wallens, our labor attorney, and we hammered out some details and some changes. I then worked on those changes with the two management officers, and we're all in agreement. So I'll forward the final copy for everyone's review. And hopefully we'll vote on that next meeting. We had the first meeting of the Polk Switzer Park Committee. I think it was a productive meeting, and we talked about some ideas and how we can get some additional community feedback. We're going to provide some revised drawings from Labella based on some of the things we talked about, and start fine tuning some ideas and working on that. And that includes working on the two parcels and drawing up those agreements. We're going to work on this week. I think that's about it. We do have two personnel matters.
You gotta get to this trustees.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, we just want to,
Just saying, I'm not-
you're just getting ahead of yourself.
I want to announce that now. Tim,
I would also like to add, I would like to discuss one legal matter, a contractual matter in executive session.
Yep.
Yeah, the only thing I'd like to request that the mayor, contact, hopefully I would say by letter to CP Rail regarding the flooding off of their rail line on the east side along Station Street, which their drainage ditch has not been cleared in years. And while the west side along Villa seemed to be, draining well, even with all the water coming down the hill, the opposite side was not doing so well. And it was all flowing down Menands Road, and a lot of debris was getting pushed into the street. And, going onto people's properties, I just don't find it acceptable. And I had, gotten Ariel Giordano's phone number last year when we discussed this stuff. And I sent her some photographs with what was going on, and she did not even contact. So I think at this point we have to,
yeah, so we're gonna send them a letter, not just on this, but to finalize the plans for the 2025 holiday train and get that starting. So hopefully we can wrap that all into one conversation and not be just negative, but also be positive and hope to get their response.
Fair enough.
Anything else?
Nope.
Nick?
All I have is that, can we reach out to 444 Broadway and the bus company to see if they can remove their storage container that's sitting there and the CDL sign and the mattresses,
Yeah.
just right off Broadway?
Nick, Don, what was the name of the maintenance guy there? You know what I'm talking about?
Yes,
Bruno?
no, what, I'll ask Lyle has it.
Yeah, I don't think they're doing the testing anymore. They
No,
usually
it's
just
just
remove the
sitting there.
signs, and there's been a van of some kind parked there. Yes. Actually, 434.
444, yeah.
Molly?
Just a reminder, the senior picnic is Thursday. They'll start at 10 o'clock. It goes until 2. And then school's ending next week.
Another year. Yeah,
Nope, that's all I had.
how was the pancake?
It was good.
Don,
Just a reminder, election day is tomorrow. It's from 12 to 9 here. The candidates that are running are Seth Harris, Tim Lane, and Lisa Newman. I know we talked about this, but concerts in the parks are going to start on July 8th. The rain location is going to be the market. The concert dates are available on the website and on Facebook. Food truck festival is going to start on Wednesdays. They changed the time a little bit. It's going to be
yeah, everything
Five.
matches.
what?
Everything matches, so it's 6 to 8:30.
6 to 8:30. The tax bills were sent out at the beginning of June. They're due by June 30th. And starting in July, the water sewer bills will be going out. Did I miss anything?
I just wanted to, also, we have revamped the financial page of the village website. I had the web guys put everything into buckets based on our fiscal year. So if you click on the 2025 fiscal year, it'll start populating our budget, and then the financial information each time we have a meeting will be populated in there so that everybody has access to that.
So the stuff you guys got today will be in there tomorrow. When they do the,
And so that's how we're gonna keep tracking that going forward. So
I feel like there was something else. There was something.
you'll remember it to me.
I
So
will. I'll call you.
yeah. Public comment. Bill.
All right. Number one, I'd like to thank our PDW guys for fixing that white alarm system in the men's room next to the pavilion building, which had been beeping, which is far above the toilet. But I went to the restroom again today, and needless to say, the white alarm system is beeping again every 10 or 11 seconds.
Okay.
I'm just letting everybody know about it.
It's in the men's room by the pavilion.
Yes, it is.
I'll check it first thing in the morning.
And of course, like Steve Boulay and Big Bill Nevins, I oppose unionizing of the police command staff because since they already got civil service protection, I don't see the reason why they should be able to unionize. So I'm opposed. Number 7, I'm glad to have successfully done a good job serving as the official groundskeeper during the 2025 Little League baseball season, and I hope to look forward to serving as the official groundskeeper for the 2026 Little League baseball season. I've done the last cleanup work details for the baseball organization Friday morning. It was unfortunate not too many games were played under condition because of poor weather conditions. Now, number 10. Now, while driving on Clifford Road, I saw that 11 Clifford Road residential property has been rehabilitated, plus the home got repainted from sky blue to white, which I'm glad to see because blue is not my favorite color. And while walking on some village streets in Lower Menands, I observed some walkways of some residential properties being cluttered with, junk and other weeds. So I remove them from the walkways because I do this to prevent and avoid accidents. We don't want anyone falling down, getting injured. And I do not want to see property owners liable to get flat with lawsuits because, lawsuits are complicated, they're costly, slow, and time-consuming process. I'm glad that the property owners appreciate my concern. Number 12, while walking on Upland Road, I observed one signpost with 3 signs on the signpost, which the signpost is still leading toward the left, plus the Lyme disease warning sign paint is fading. Now the dead end sign and the no trespassing sign on the trail at a certain time at night, they're all right, but the bottom one, the Lyme disease warning sign, needs to be replaced along with a new signpost.
We'll take care of it though.
Huh?
We'll take care of it.
All right, I have confidence you'll get it done. I'm just doing my job to let you know.
All right.
Now, during Memorial Day weekend, I saw one trailer truck parked on Elmwood Road with no one in the truck. This truck is owned by NMK Express Company from Garfield, New Jersey. It's got a New Jersey license plate. This is the second time it's been parking on Elmwood Road when it should not be. Now, I don't know what the hell it's doing parking on Elm Road, and the reason why So this second time I report this issue to the Menands Police. Number 14. Now, since I reported to the Menands Police and Clerk, Don Hannon, dealing with my concern about one fire hydrant on west side of Elmwood Road being covered with high grass and brush, I'm delighted to say that the high grass and brush were finally removed from the fire hydrant, which I witnessed. Plus, I removed the lawn sign from this area as the guy had asked me to. And I'd like to thank the property owner for getting the job done. Before I'm done, one more. I went to the Pavilion Building this afternoon, and I found that the lights and 4 fans in the Pavilion Building have been left on, apparently since yesterday afternoon, because of some private event being held there. So I'm asking, please kindly cut off 4 fans and lights in the Pavilion Building. When things are being used, when they're not being used, it's wasting electricity. We simply can't afford to waste energy or budget too much resources. Thanks for letting me speak on an important issue.
Thanks, Bill.
You're welcome.
Steve?
I was just had a concern about the clothing bin over by.
Great, yeah, I already talked to.
Right.
Awesome. Yeah.
I didn't even know that we were still allowing them. I know that.
Yeah,
So,
it was an issue. They need a license. That one was grandfather. That was the guinea pig of the whole thing. The one at the, at 444 was there and left.
Yeah.
Because it was definitely a magnet for
Yeah.
everything you don't want
we're
to
looking
do.
at like dressers and
Yes.
stuff recently. And I was like, I just don't want it to. turn
I asked
into-
Frank today about the overflow.
Okay.
Yep. Thank you. And like I said, that will be taken care of tomorrow.
Oh, thank you.
Can you say who your EAP provider is?
EAP company.
The EAP company, okay.
Yeah.
When I was at Albany Public, we had Capital EAP, and I can say that it's a very good service to offer your employees. And while they don't offer a million things, they do have a lot.
Yes, yes, thank you.
So,
Yeah.
and there's also, the Capital EAP offered like webinars and trainings and stuff like that, and it was useful, but.
You want to
I'll say
learn how to
for
pick
any-
wines? There's a video for that.
It's for public service.
Name
people. Old Switzer Park, the meeting was very good. The place at the top on the 3 lots where they cut down the trees. Do you guys have any plans to fill in the holes or do anything? Because now there are sumac saplings everywhere, and I talked to Heather and she paid a lot of money to get rid of the sumac behind the garage, and she's afraid it's just gonna go everywhere.
Mike and I talked about that today, and we're going to go up there tomorrow and formulate a plan to keep it in check.
Okay. Good to know. And then I'm glad you're meeting with Catherine.
So am I.
Yep.
I work for that organization
You did?
as a volunteer.
All
I
right,
still
well, we'll wrestle you back to join them when we, if we get them here.
do. I will appreciate it.
All right, anyone else? Motion to go into executive session.
Make a motion.
Second. All those in favor?
Hi.
Hey,
So it's legal and.
legal,
Personnel.
2 personnel and 1 legal. Thank you, everyone.
Have a good night.
Yeah, no.
Thanks for the letter.
You're welcome.
I'll read it. Thanks for the letter. I'll read it when I can.
All right.
10 minutes.
Oh, I'm okay, Bill. How are you? How are you doing? Thank you.
We have a meeting.
Personnel and legal.
The road, Mark.
All right. I approve.
Very harsh.
It's really nice. It's a gym there.